Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Or maybe we should say good afternoon, depending where you are on this great planet. So thanks so much for joining us. I know that your time is valuable, and the fact that you're willing to give it up and spend some time with us is really an honor, to say the least.
It sure is. Yes. Happy Tuesday morning to all of you out there. And thank you, like Bob said, for giving up your time to be with us this morning. We are going to be heading up a wonderful webinar for you today called Understanding Your Shop KPIs, something that we could all use a little tune-up on. So we're excited for this content.
Yeah, no doubt about that. How about a special thank you, Doris? What do you think this morning? You think that's appropriate?
Oh, man, do I ever. Yeah. To Jasper Engines and Transmissions, for all that you do, not only for us, we just have such respect for your company and the principles that you live by, but for what you do for this industry. Thank you for promoting this webinar and bringing it to your customers. We know that there's going to be a lot of value there for them.
Yeah, very, very kind of you to do that. So from my heart to yours, thanks again for helping us in every way that you do. So for those of you that are new to us, for those of you that are not new to us, I apologize. You're going to have to put up with me again. So my apology goes first, I guess. For those of you that are new to us, my name is Bob Cooper, and I'm the president of Elite, and I'm a lucky guy. I get to work with a lot of very, 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 very super extra talented people in a lot of different ways. Our coaches and all of our staff are really a blessing to me and to this company and certainly the industry. And I'm also able to work with Doris Barnes. And Doris was kind enough to share this time with us this morning, and she's going to be co-presenting this content with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky to get to hang out with this guy, too. Doris Barnes, again, is my name. I'm the Director of Customer Relations here with Elite. I do a lot of presenting for the company, a lot of teaching. I do a lot of these webinars and seminars, and so it's an honor for me to be here this morning.
Yeah, it certainly is. She's very gifted at what she does, and you're going to find that out today. There's no question about that. In regard to who we are and sort of the bigger picture, we're a company that lives by a principle that one of the things that we'll never do is we'll never put money ahead of people. So that's a little bit about who we are, and let's change gears here a little bit. Let's talk about what we do, which I think is going to be very important to each and every one of you as well.
So as an organization, we help shop owners build more successful businesses and reach their goals while having a positive impact on their employees, their customers, and their communities. So we want all those things to come together to help them achieve top levels of success.
Yeah, that's certainly what we're all about. And let's talk about this particular course if we could. You know, what are we looking to do? Well, one of the things that we want to do clearly is we want to help you in every way that we can. And today what we're going to do is we're going to provide you with this information that's not only going to help you with your KPIs, better understand them, but equally as important, give you the information that you need that's going to be able to bring immediate improvement to the profitability of your shop. So I'm personally sort of excited about this opportunity to help you in this way.
So our course agenda today, we're going to start by reviewing the basic business model of a successful shop.
Yep.
We're going to start there.
You bet. That's number one on our list. Number two on our list is we're going to take a look at the average repair order, and we're going to show you some things that you can do to sort of tune that up and get it to where it needs to be.
We're going to review part and labor gross profit KPIs and proven strategies for improvement on those, which I think you guys are going to really enjoy.
Yeah, so there's three. As we promised you in the email that you'd received or the messaging that you'd received, we're going to look at all three of these today. But then we thought, you know what, we can't do a course like this without bringing it back to, let's call it Business 101, and we're going to take a few minutes and do a little bit of a review, as we can call it, the job description of a shop owner. I think this is something that everybody needs to be reminded of on a regular basis.
And lastly, stick around because we are going to be providing you with two very powerful resources at the end of this webinar that we gave a lot of thought to, and we're just really excited about what we can do for you today.
Yeah, I really think you're going to, I shouldn't say I think, I know you're going to really like, I know you're going to really like what you hear at the very end, how we're going to be able to help you with your business.
Absolutely. And how to best benefit?
Yeah, well, number one, first and most importantly, we know for many of you, you're actually watching this webinar from your shop or some environment, maybe from a Starbucks or maybe from a bar somewhere or whatever. I'm just giving you a hard time, guys and gals. But, yeah, the beach. In some cases, knowing some of you, that probably is. Do everything that you can do, please, to make sure that you're uninterrupted.
Take really good notes. we are going to share some what we'll call green zone strategies, things that you guys may want to make note of as we're going through this content today.
There you go. And please, 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 please keep an open mind. Critically important. You already have an open mind. You're good business owners, I'm sure. You're attending courses like this, so we know that you live in that world. And the other thing that I wanted to mention to you is one of the things that we're doing with this program, by the way, this is a new format, a new platform that we're now using for our webinars, and we're really thrilled about it because it has really great benefits. And one of the things that we're able to do is we're able to do a type-in Q&A session. So toward the end of this program, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be asking for any questions that you might have relative to any of the material that we covered today. And all that you'll need to do is somewhere on your control panel on the right-hand side, you'll see a little thing where you can click on it and you can type in questions. When you type in those questions, those will come to us. And then we'll take a look at those questions when the Q&A session starts. We'll take a look at those questions and we'll try to answer them as well as we can and as many of them as we can. So then that's the plan. Okay, Doris, let's move on a little bit further, all right?
Okay, so still under how to best benefit here, you can click the small orange button to hide your little control panel. So that little arrow button that you see will close that and then re-expand that. So when we get to Q&A time and you guys want to start typing in questions, you can click that button again and then
bring it back
away.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to actually do that myself, Doris. I just hit our little control panel, guys, on the right-hand side. Again, it's a little orange button. All that you need to do is click on it. It'll give you more of a screen view.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love this program.
Okay, Doris. Yeah, really cool.
Okay, so moving on, guys. Let's get into our content today.
Okay.
So let's start.
We're off to the races. Okay, first and foremost, let's do this, guys and gals. Let's take a little bit of a quick overview of the ideal business model for an auto repair business. And it's referred to, we like to refer to it as the 40-40-20 model. And let me show you how easy it is to look at this. Number one, the first thing you need to bear in mind is you need to look at your cost of goods, what some people refer to as cost of sales. Sometimes they'll interchange those words. But that number needs to be 40% of your entire sales. This means functionally, when you take in, let's say, $100,000 at the end of the month, $40,000 and no more than $40,000 of those $100,000 are going to go to your cost of goods. What are cost of goods? Cost of goods or any expense that you incur after the customer says, yep, let's go ahead and do it. That means the water pump that you have to buy to fix that car. That means the technician you have to pay on flat rate to fix that car. Any cost that's incurred after the customer says, let's go ahead and do it, is referred to as a cost of sale. That target needs to be 40% or lower of your entire sales. So again, looking at a $100,000 business model, or example here today, that would mean your cost of goods for that month, that particular month, should not exceed $40,000. Now we have another one, don't we, Doris?
We do. So your fixed and operating expenses would be 40% again. So no more than $40,000 with a $100,000 example. And so fixed and operating expenses, rent, utilities, insurances, advertising would be an example, software programs that you have. So this would be anything that you have to spend on, regardless of whether or not one customer walks through your door.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not a customer shows up, you really have to have these things in mind in order to be ready to do business.
Yeah, so if you add those two together at the end of the month, if you have a $100,000 month, and if you're able to control your cost of goods, your cost of sales to $40,000, and if you're able to control your fixed expenses, operating expenses to $40,000, then as you can imagine, not a lot of tough math here, right? You wind up with a net income of 20% of sales, which would be $20,000. So if you're not there, we need to help you get there. That's what we need to do, and we're going to share some tips with you that are going to do just that today.
Yeah.
So Doris, you ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, so guys and gals, that's the basic business model that we like to look at. Doris, why don't we do this? Why don't we start off with average repair orders? Could we please?
Yep, I'd be happy to. Okay, so as of June 1 of this year, we wanted the most current information in front of you today. We, as a company, and our network spans very, very broadly in this industry, find that the target, in a general sense, would be 2.5 labor hours per repair order. So the best way to look at, where should my ARO be is not going to be by the dollars and cents of that ARO. A lot of times people will ask us, what should my ARO be? And of course, the first thing we need to understand is what they're charging for labor per hour, right? So this is going to vary dollars and cents wise. So we want to bring it back to how many labor hours are we selling? And 2.5 is a very real number. A lot of our clients operate at 3 labor hours per RO. And of course, different things are going to dictate, what your advisor's ability to do it needs to be done. Everything that you have set up around your service advisor, the type of customers coming through your door, of course, affect this as well. But this is a real target. It's one you should be shooting for. So take a look at where you are and find out, where are we? Are we at 1.75? Are we at 2? If you find that you're beneath those, we have some green zone strategies here that we're going to help you understand what are some of the things that I can do in my facility to get to this number. Okay.
Yeah, well said, Doris. And she brings up a really great point, by the way, when she had mentioned about when you're looking at your ARO. You got to be really careful with that number, because a lot of guys and gals will ask us, well, gee, what should my ARO be? Or what's the national average for an ARO? And that's misleading as could be, because like Doris says, labor rates in San Francisco may very well be considerably different than labor rates in possibly South Georgia or other parts of the country. So because of that, it's hard to assign a dollar per value with a dollar value to an ARO. But what we can assign is the labor hours. And what we found, as Doris says, 2.5 to 3 hours is what the top guys in America are currently doing. So if you're not there, let's do this. Let's take a look at some of the things you can do to get there, all right? Number one, first and foremost, we're a goal-oriented company. Everything that we do is all around goals. Your families, your life, your business, everything should be around goals. And one of the things you need to do is you need to have really clearly defined ARO labor sales goals. And so wherever you're at right now, if you find that you're at 1.5 labor hours as an example, then you go, gosh, well, we need to get that up. And we're not asking you to go out there and change the world tomorrow and all of a sudden the following day be at 2.5 or 3. But what we're asking you to do is start setting goals where you can improve the performance. So first and foremost, Doris and I put a lot of thought in this. What do you need to address first and foremost? In every case, it's going to be the hours per RO. So set those goals, guys and gals.
Next, you really, as a leader in the company, whether you're the owner or the manager, I'm sure it would be team effort, ensure there is a company-wide belief in preventative services. We do a lot of high-level service advisor training for this industry, and one of the things that we find is really, really widespread is many service advisors don't believe in maintenance work. They really have a hard time selling the value of it because they don't necessarily see it as very needed, to be honest, which is a little concerning, right? For those of you listening in, you think, my gosh, this is what they're selling every day to the customer. And so we really need to educate them. We think a lot of it is just pure lack of education. What happens? What are the real facts about how the vehicle benefits, how the customer benefits, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. But get everybody on the same page. Have company meetings where you guys are discussing these things and showing data. Show factual data, documentation about these preventative service and how they're really going to benefit your customers in so many different ways.
Boy, yeah, what a great statement, huh? So all of you that are business owners, take a deep breath and set a meeting aside for all your guys and gals and have that conversation about how the customers really do win when they authorize preventative maintenance. And one of the things that I always laugh about, and I've mentioned this to lots of people over the years, it's funny, whenever I drive down the freeway or any side road, one of the things I'll rarely see is a Mercedes off to the side of the road or on a tow truck. And the reason from my point of view isn't because they're necessarily better engineers. The reason from my point of view that you don't see Mercedes broken down that often is because Mercedes is an organization. They do a really good job of teaching their customers one thing, and that's taking care of that automobile, having that maintenance done. So this is no different with your company. If you want to see your ARO go up, then set those labor goals and make sure that everybody, like Doris says, your company has a belief in preventative maintenance. All right? Okay, let's take a look at the next one if we could, all right?
Okay, so developing and selling testing packages, Bob.
Yeah, this is a biggie, and when it says packages, we're literally talking about packages. You never want to sell time, and we know that there are still some shops out there that fall into that trap, that horrible trap of telling a customer, well, it's going to take about an hour to check it out, and we're going to charge you this. You need to really offer packages for your testing. And now's not the time to get into a conversation about that because it's a pretty big conversation in itself. That you really need to do, you need to have these level 1, level 2 different packages available, and you need to make those available to your customers. So if you don't have those packages in place, sit down with your tech, sit down with your crew, and have that conversation.
And you notice how Bob is referring to it as testing versus diagnosis. The customers really can wrap their heads around what it means to have to test a vehicle at feel like when we sell diagnosis, it's a little bit more abstract. And it also leads the customer to believe that we are selling the answer, which we'll just give them, right, guys? We'll just give that. We'll tell them. So it's a really great way to build value in what it is that you're doing as a company.
Yeah, great point, Doris. And how about this one, Doris?
And next, we have to be sure to mandate comprehensive vehicle inspections that are fully documented and reviewed by management. So this is something that we see all too often, where there's a lot of inconsistency in the thoroughness on every vehicle that comes to your facility for inspection, and your technicians understanding that there's no gray area here, that this really is absolutely critical to the success of the company and also for the customer safety and all of those things. We make sure that we do these every single time without exception. And so these things are going to allow your advisors the opportunity to sell. You know, if that work is not discovered, of course, then it dramatically can reduce our average repair order.
Yeah, what a great message, Doris. What a great message. And if you do what she's asked me to do, then leads to the next bullet point, which says providing full disclosure, complete disclosure of all discoveries. Don't hold back on anything to each and every customer. From an ethic point of view, we have a responsibility to do that with everybody that comes into the shop. If we know something's at fault with their car, needs attention, needs service, we have an ethic responsibility to let them know. So if you want to see your arrows go up, here's 5 guaranteed ways they're going to help you make that improvement. Now, Doris, let's change gears here again, all right? Could we, please?
Yeah.
And let's talk about the GP on parts.
Okay. So for your parts gross profit as of June 1, the target 50 to 54%. Now, we know that some companies out there are doing more than that. We live in a world that says, you know, just because you can charge a customer more doesn't necessarily mean that you should. We need to remain somewhat competitive with parts prices, and we really strongly believe that you make more of a margin, or should look at making more of a margin in your labor gross profit, because I'm thrilled to sell my technicians and my people every day. They can't go down the street and get my people. So this is a really good place to live. You're going to be able to 50 to 54% target. You're going to be able to run a profitable business, but make sure that you're also doing the right things for the community and the customers as well.
Yeah, great message, Doris. I'm on board. So, guys and gals, if you're not at 50 to 54%, how do you get there? Well, here comes that goal word again, right? Setting part GP goals and remembering. Now, this is an important one, and this may be new to many of you. Please bear in mind you can't take percentages to the bank. Mm-hmm. And we all understand and relate the importance of percentages. All of our business development coaches understand it. We sort of get that. We get that. But we also know that you can't take percentages to the bank and deposit those. You can't pay your employees with percentages. You got to pay those guys and gals with dollars and cents, right? So the reason that I mention that is some guys are so hung up on a percentage. They want to protect that GP as a percentage so much, they forget the importance of what we'll call gross dollars. So let me give you an example. Let me pull up another bullet point, all right? It says utilize the proper pricing formula. And, of course, this is self-evident. In all cases, if you want to get to a part GP, you have to have a formula that to get to that GP. But it also says in monitoring gross profit dollars being generated per hour. And if you take a look at that, and I'll just give you an example, sometimes when you're selling these big-ticket items, when you're selling transmissions or engines or anything that's really a big-ticket item, you know what? You're not going to make that same GP on that part as you would on maybe a set of brakes. There's no question about that. But look at the sheer dollars per hour that you're generating with that sale. Mm-hmm. That's where it just sort of like explodes. So not only can you generate more dollars per hour in many cases with bigger ticket items at smaller GPs when it comes to percentages, but the cool thing is you'll also wind up with a customer, if they do buy a big ticket item from you, transmissions, engines, things of that nature, typically you're going to have a customer for a lifelong period. Yep. Because they believe in you and they're going to be coming back to you for all the other services. So please, 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 bear in mind, you got to have these targets. We want you to work toward them. But you know what? If you were a shop owner, if you came to me and you said, hey, Cooper, look, last month my part GP was this percentage, and I had another shop owner that was 2 or 3 points lower than you, but he had more gross profit dollars, I would say, you know what? He's running a better business, because it all leads to the dollars and cents, not just the percentages. So, gosh, I hope that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
I really do. All right, let's take a look at another one, Doris.
And provide your advisors with tools that minimize discounting. In an advisor's world, they want to make sure your customers are really, really happy. And it can be really easy, and it can be a fallback if they get used to it, to discount work, right? One of the things that works really, really well that you might try doing is you might provide them with a budget each month. So you might say, okay, what's the average that we really believe we're going to need to be able to give out in discounting or in goodwill dollars to appease our customers? What's going to make sense? And you're going to want to look at the history, but if you know that you're heavy in discounting, you're going to really need to scale that number back and help your advisors start to build more value in what it is that they're selling versus just falling on discounting your work. It sends the wrong signal to the customer. It trains them to always ask you for discounts, and it's devaluing what they're doing every day that is so valuable. So you may provide them with a budget and say, hey, service advisors, here's the deal. You have
let's say it's $400
to work with for the month. And, whatever is left over at the end of the month that you don't use for our customers in discounts, you get half of that. It'll be a bonus for you, and the company will get the other half. So now they have a stake in it. Now it matters to them. It's coming out of their pocket. So this works really, really well. Just make sure that you set that budget at the appropriate place.
So set the budget, have a conversation with your advisor, right?
Yep.
And let them know it's sort of like their money to lose.
That's right.
Is that pretty cool or what, guys? Now, before they give that discount to that customer, they'll think, oh, gee, that's going to cost me as well as costing the company. So,
yeah.
Doris, that's a rock solid, great suggestion. How about this one, Doris?
Next, it says utilizing ethics-based sales training that teaches advisors how to sell the benefits of the service rather than parts and labor. One of the things about the wrong kind of sales training, your advisors aren't going to be able to get behind it. They feel that it's just about taking dollars and cents from people. It's more about driving up the numbers, sell, beat people over the head to get them to say yes to things that they don't need. This is commonly felt in the industry by service advisors. We do a ton of sales training, as I mentioned earlier. You've got to make sure that it's really centered in doing the right things for the right reasons. For example, in our training, we'll always say, if your customers were in this room right now, we're not going to change a single word of this because we know that it's the right thing to do for them. So it's got to be ethics-based, but it's got to teach your advisors how to sell the benefits of the service. So how does the customer benefit if they say yes? How does the vehicle benefit if they say yes to that particular service, rather than just selling parts and labor? So instead of saying you're due for a 30,000-mile service and it's going to be this part or this filter, air filter, fuel filter, oil filter change, coolant flush, and it's going to cost this much, we're going to really elaborate on the benefits of the service.
Cool. Works like a champ, guys. So take this one to the bank as well. This is going to help you in every single way. Doris, we're going to change gears. Let's talk about labor gross profit if we could. All right.
All right. So a target here, 65 to 70% on your labor gross profit. So you'll notice that that's higher than your parts gross profit target, right? Remember what I said? It's easy to defend your people because they're very gifted at what they do, and your customers cannot go down the street and get your gifted technicians and service advisors and staff. So all the more reason that we should be able to do better in our labor gross profit, okay? So these are real targets. A lot of our clients are at the 70% mark, which is a really great place to be.
Yep, great message, Doris. Green zone strategies. How do you get from here to there? Well, you heard this one before, haven't you guys, ago? Set those labor and GP goals. How about this one, Doris?
Employ technicians that are really good producers. We need to have gifted, well-trained technicians that are going to help our companies grow.
Well, you all know the benefit of that too, right? And again, look at this one. Does this look familiar, guys, ago? Before we're talking about having packages, now we're talking about charging for the testing services. You got to make sure that you charge these customers for those services that are being provided.
Yeah, hopefully your advisors aren't falling into the trap of not knowing how to build value in testing, helping the customer to really see what this testing is all about or diagnosis is all about. Your customers think that it's just pulling a code, don't they? And this is where these parts companies can battle you and have it be difficult for them over the phone. They need to be able to build value in those testing services so that the customer goes, oh, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. They're going to feel good about paying it, and your advisors are going to feel good about selling it, in which case you'll be better off. You'll be able to charge for what it is that you're doing. A lot of times service advisors will say, oh, well, you know, if you go ahead and get the repair done, it'll roll into the price of the repairs. That's the wrong approach to take.
Yeah, there you go, guys. So make sure that you charge for that testing. And like Doris said earlier, if you really put the focus not only on the testing and the packages and the results that they're going to get, but the people side of your business, how they're going to have this gifted tech that's going to be doing all of this testing for you and doing the visual inspection of the automobile, you're going to be able to generate the gross profit dollars that you'd like to generate. And how about this one, Doris?
Controlling comeback. Oh, man, you all know this. Okay. So what are some of the things that we can do to control comeback? Well, really well-trained technicians are obviously a big part of that, but we need to figure out other ways. For your technicians and the way that they're compensated, for example, is there some sort of component to their compensation program that incentivizes them for not getting comeback, a certain number, right? What about for quality control policies and procedures that you have in place, systems that you have in place within your company that are going to really disallow a lot of comebacks? Of course, when you get those comebacks, then you're giving away your labor, which will decrease.
Yeah, that will absolutely kill you guys, and we know that you all know that. So how can you help improve your GP labor? Certainly it's a biggie to control the comebacks, and of course you have to track the technician efficiency and productivity as well. Doris? Sure
do. And so these are two different measurements here, and a lot of times we'll run into shops that don't necessarily understand the difference or aren't necessarily tracking this on a regular basis. Efficiency is going to be the hours charged for the job on the RO versus how many hours it took the technician to complete that job. And so you all know that if you have very efficient technicians, we could say they're running at 110, 120, 130, in rare cases 140% efficiency. That means they're just very quick at what they do, and which is good. We're paying them for their knowledge, not necessarily time. So that's really a big one. And productivity is just the hours charged for the job versus the hours that were available. So if it was an 8-hour job and they had an 8-hour day and they were on the clock for 8 hours, that would be 100% productivity. So hopefully the differences between those two make sense. You want to track both of them, and for more clarity on how you're going to be able to add those up to your 65 to 70% labor gross profit, of course, there are answers for that out there.
Yeah, these are huge. Huge. The more efficient you could have your technicians become and the more productive you could be as an organization with the people that work with you, then the more successful you're going to be. There's no question about that. Well, what we're going to do now, guys and gals, we're going to actually change gears one more time because this is a really important subject that we're coming up on, and want to make sure that we don't miss the mark with each and every one of you. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the job description of a shop owner. Most shop owners, for whatever reason, think it's their job to work on cars, diagnose, and help the advisor at the counter and clean the floors and other things. And even though we understand why they do that, it really isn't a part of their job description. The job description of a business owner is very short and it's very, very profound. Job number one is set the goals of the company. If you're going to build a really cool company, if you want to really have a successful organization, number one, you have to have clearly defined goals that you're able to share with all the guys and gals that work with you.
Next, number two on the list is you have to create the plan. So if you have the goal, you know where you want to be, how are you going to get there? What's this action plan going to look like? What are the steps you're going to take? So you've got to have, for example, a recruiting plan. Now that I know I want to have 2 locations by this year, I've got to know how to appropriately staff my company, how many people I'm going to need to fill the shop the right way, right? So that recruiting plan, you got to have a marketing plan. What am I going to be able to do to get my brand the place it's going to need to be to have 2 locations? Business plan, planning, you just have to have it mapped out. And this is something that we do a lot with our clients.
Yeah, so this is the how do you get from here to there. And the next one is who gets you from here to there. And this simply states you have to hire the superstars. And it doesn't say hire good employees. It says hire the amazingly gifted people. If you want to build a really cool company, a great company, you're going to have really cool, really great people working with you. So it's your job description to be recruiting all of the time. That doesn't mean hiring all the time. It means building a relationship with the superstars in the industry all the time. That way, when the time does come that you need a superstar, you'll already have the relationship built with them. Number 4,
bringing out the best in those superstars. As an owner of a company, you have to become one really, really good manager of people. I love the analogy that Bob always uses. He says it's really easy in the big scope to hire people. The hard part is keeping them and keeping them happy and feeling really good about being on board with your organization. So it's kind of like getting married. It's easy to get married. It's hard to stay married. It takes a lot of work. And so this is something that you really have to devote a lot of time and energy to. If you're not good at it already, you got to really devote your efforts to being good. It's the most critical thing you have to do.
Yeah, well said, Doris, and well said. And the last one says it's your job, business owner, the shop owner, to ensure the success of the company. And the reason that we decided it would be appropriate to drop this slide in for each and every one of you is KPIs are obviously very important. It's a scorecard, but it's only going to track your behavior, what you're able to do with yourself, the people that work with you in your business. So we thought that we would be remiss if we shared KPIs with you, but we didn't remind you as to what you need to be doing in order to influence those KPIs. So this is your job, my friends, each and every one of you that are business owners. Well, Doris, at this point, it looks like we got Q&A time, and we got a few minutes that we have carved out that we'll be able to spend with you guys and gals. So this is what I'm going to ask that you do. Take a look at your screen, and somewhere on the lower right-hand corner somewhere, or somewhere over on the right-hand side on that dashboard, depending on the configuration that you have, you'll find a little screen that says questions or Q&A. And all that you'll need to do is type in any question that you might have for us. It will pop up on the screen. Go ahead, take a minute or so to do it. We're patient people. We could wait. Type in the question that you might have, and if it's something that we feel that we have the ability to answer, then we'll certainly give it our best shot. So, Doris, what do we have? Do we get up any?
Yeah, we do. We have a couple.
What's
How about this one here, Bob?
Which one? Can you click on it? So
Sure.
Yeah, make it a little bit bigger. Maybe you can see it then. And advertising. What does it say?
Is advertising part of the 40% fixed expense? If so, what is the percentage of sales?
Oh, is that
what percentage of sales should be on advertising?
Yeah, well, that's sort of a complicated question, but what I can tell you is this. Yes, it's a part of your operating expenses, so you called it on that one. And as a percentage of your sales, a good benchmark to use is anywhere from 4 to 5% of your total projected sales. So right now, if you're doing $700,000, we're not asking you to invest 4 to 5% of $700,000. If you're doing $700,000, but you want to get that $900,000, you need to invest 4 to 5% of $900,000 in your advertising campaign. And then the question comes, well, how much of that is into what different media or what different campaigns? And unfortunately, we don't have the time to get into that today. That's a subject in itself.
Right.
But if you'd like to give us a call, we'd be more than happy to spend a few minutes. Whoever shot in that question, we'd be more than happy to spend a few minutes with you on the phone and answer your question in greater detail. Do you have any more questions that are relative to what we're covering here today, Doris?
Yeah, let's take a look. I think that we do. Here we go. Is there a specific place you should go to recruit superstars?
Oh,
recruiting.
Yeah.
Shocker that we're getting recruiting questions.
Yeah. And I can see how these are tied to the KPIs that we just discovered, right? Covered. Yeah. How do we recruit the superstars? Well, we could spend, and for the benefit of all the rest of you that are here for KPIs, I'll be very brief with the answer to that. When it comes to recruiting the superstars, you always need to go where they are. You have to identify who rock stars are, and you have to find a way to build a relationship with them. Beyond that, believe it or not, you could run radio ads. I know it sounds really crazy, but you could actually run radio ads. We've done it successfully. A lot of our clients have done it successfully. Yeah, and give us a call if you're interested in that. Give us a call. We'll help you with that. But we put together a way of running a radio ad that's a knock 'em dead ad that really turns the industry upside down and to give you superstars. And then there are a lot of other ways you can connect with them. So when it comes to finding the superstars, these are the guys and gals that you need. Doris, what questions do you have up there that are hopefully relative to the content that we covered today? Great question, by the way.
Really great question. If we're a AAA approved shop, how do we control discounting?
Well, the way you control discounting is understanding forecasting and understanding that it's a part of your advertising expense. This is what you're going to do. When you may refer to it as discounting, and I certainly understand your perception. I'm looking at it like that's what you invested to get that customer to come into the door. So this is another one of the advertising investments that you make. So when it comes to the AAA, please bear in mind that When it comes to different organizations, you're going to have what we'll call secondary beneficiaries out of that. If a customer comes in and you're a AAA, or let's say I have a AAA approved auto repair facility, and Doris comes in, regardless whether or not she's a AAA member, when she sees that sign up there on the wall that says, I'm a AAA approved auto repair business, or she sees it on my website, it's going to build confidence in her. So the thing that most AAA shops don't recognize, from my point of view, is how many sales did they sell? How many sales did they close just because the customer saw the sign that maybe weren't even AAA approved or AAA customers. So AAA needs to be looked at as an advertising investment.
Yeah, good. We got a lot of really great questions here. Here's one. I've heard that your parts markup should cover your fixed costs, and then your gross profit is from labor. How does that translate to these goals? Question mark.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. When it comes to margins that you're working on with any business, the thing that you need to bear in mind is how much you're going to have to generate in revenue in order to grow your company. So different companies are going to be in different, I'm trying to get an image going here for you guys. Different companies are going to be located, different shops are going to be located in different communities. So Doris may have a shop that is a very impoverished community, and I don't care how good her advisor skills are, she's going to be dealing with a lot of people that just don't have the dollars and cents to invest in her car, period. So she's going to have a considerably lower ARO, maybe than a shop that is in a middle income or upper middle income neighborhood where all that they care about is safety and taking care of the kids and making sure that the car is in good shape. So they're going to have completely different margins. So what we're looking at is the overall. No matter if it's her business or your business, at the end of the day, these are real numbers. These are real numbers. So Doris may not be able, in her community, she may not be able to get that 50 to 54% part GP, but you know what she's going to have to do? She's going to have to be really good with her labor sales. I can tell you that. She's going to have to be really good in order to control her margin.
Absolutely. Okay, here we go, guys. We've got a lot of good questions. Should I pay technicians to perform a visual inspection of the vehicle? That's a tough one. And it's
every business owner is going to have their own methodology. So when you say should I pay a tech to perform a visual inspection, the first thought you have to ask yourself is, how good are your advisors? Could your advisors sell? Because if your advisors could sell, then, and if I'm a tech, you don't have to worry about paying me because I know that I'm going to be paid because that guy is going to get the job for me. So it depends on what you mean when you say a visual inspection. It depends on how much time it's going to take him or her to do that inspection. But if it's just an easy inspection, if it's going to take 10, 15 minutes for me to go ahead and do it, and I know that advisor up there, Larry or Mary, is going to sell this stuff, do that. Of course, I'd love to be able to do that. So this is one that's dependent on your sales skills, the ability of your people to sell.
Yeah. If your tech knows their opportunity and the advisors can sell the job, then you know what, they're going to be happy to do those inspections. But if every time they do it, nothing gets sold, then of course they're going to be burnt out by that.
And to Doris's point, the other thing that you need to be really careful of when it comes to whether or not you pay a tech for an inspection, if I'm a tech and if you pay me really well, if you give me the opportunity to earn a really good income, you know what, I'm not going to be concerned about doing that inspection. But on the other hand, if you just nickel and dime me and you don't pay me well at all, I'm at the lower rate of income for techs in the community, then I'm going to want to be paid for that inspection. So this gets back to pay your techs well. If you pay your techs well, if you have the right guys and gals, if you have advisors that can sell, they'll do those visual inspections for you at no charge all the time.
Absolutely. Let's see what else we got, guys. Got a few more minutes. Oh, 30%.
Guys and gals, we have lots of questions, and ideally they would be related to the subject content. It looks like, I'm just glancing at the screen, and with all due respect, I probably see 30 questions, 40 questions, and unfortunately, it looks like
one more.
Most of them are not related to, what is it, Doris? Most of them are not related to the content. What is it, Doris? What's the question?
Holding 30% of labor gross profit is, if you are at $100 per hour, then the max you should pay your techs would be $30 per hour flat rate?
Yes, but please understand that that's a loaded figure too. So we're talking about this tech. If you're paying a tech $30 an hour, loaded figure, including all the ancillary costs that you have of him, unemployment insurance, things of that nature, then yeah, your door rate is going to be $100 or better. And when I say or better, you'll also have to understand where you're not going to be able to make that kind of GP on other techs that aren't producers, or the salary techs that you might have in your company that are the C-level techs that are helping out. So it's a starting point, it's not an end point. But to answer your question specifically, you bet. If you have a tech that's $30 an hour costing you $30 an hour, you're going to certainly be at $100 an hour or greater for door rate, for your labor rate, for the billable hours.
Yeah.
Doris, it's time. I don't want to overstay our welcome. And one of the things that we promised these guys and gals, we promised them a couple of different things. And one of those is that we had some really cool things that we're going to make available to them at the end. So, yeah. And for those of you that still have questions that we weren't able to get to them, I'm actually I've made a point to make myself available for a good part of the day today. I know that Doris may be available, and then we have a lot of other really talented people that could help you as well. So all that you'll need to do is reach out to us, and we'll do everything that we can do to help you with the questions that you had today.
Yeah, absolutely. So if your questions didn't get answered, we'll let you know how you can reach out to us. Okay?
Okay, guys. So let's talk about the good part here, the part that I think you're going to really enjoy. All right? Let's talk about the resources that we have that are available for you. First of all, for those of you that may not be familiar with our company, and I'll just be very brief on this, is we're now a 25 going on 26-year-old company. And we literally help hundreds of shop owners in America solve problems. I mean, and if you look at our organization, if you go to our website and look at the people that work with us, we truly do have the most talented, industry-recognized icons, literally nationwide, that are working with us. So what do we do for a living? What do we do to operate as a business? We help guys and gals just like you solve problems.
We have one-on-one training provided by America's top shop owners, so very, very successful business owners that we have actually trained you if you would like that option. So it's really a special business model that we've set up in that regard.
Yeah, it really is. So if you're working with us, the guy or gal that's going to be helping you with your business is not just somebody that arguably would be a trainer. They're going to be a trainer that is actually owned and operated one of the top shops in America, or currently owns and operates top shops in America. So we have rock stars. We practice what we preach. We have rock stars that work with us.
We sure do. We have industry-leading service advisor sales training that's really centered in psychology, that's really ethics-centered, that your service advisors really will believe in. And that's what's going to cause it to be a success. So we can also help you in that regard.
Yeah, it's probably the industry's most loved and most respected sales training on the planet. It really is, because of the culture, because of our ethics, because of our commitment to helping people. We also have industry-acclaimed peer groups and consultative services. We have ProService, which is unlike any peer group in the industry, bar none. It's 90 of the most amazing, most gifted auto repair shop owners on the planet that work collectively towards solving problems with their businesses. And we also offer consultative services as well.
We have AMI accredited business management, employee management, and marketing courses that are available as well. So if you'd like some more information on those, you can just reach out to Elite.
Yeah, you bet. And of course, one of the things that we have most importantly is a commitment to never putting money ahead of people. So let's take a couple minutes, Doris, if we could, and let them know what we're going to be able to do to help them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's talk about the resources that are now available to you guys to go.
Okay, so we are really, really excited about this. If you are a Jasper customer, we actually put together a full access portal that is just for you. It's an Elite Jasper KPI Center. All you need to do, if you haven't already connected with your Jasper about this, is reach out to them. Okay, they will get you set up. They'll get you login information. You can log into this Jasper site, Elite Jasper Center, and get a ton more information that'll help you understand these KPIs, why they're critical, how to go about achieving them. You're going to absolutely love what this is all about.
Yeah, you certainly will. One of the things that I know the good people at Jasper, and they're all wonderful people, and they really are, as we are, they're committed to your success. And they've had long conversations with us about how they would like to help you even more, their Jasper customers, even more than they are with their great products and services. And collectively, we put this together, and I believe I have every reason to believe you're going to be really blown away when you go to that resource center. So like Doris says, just reach out to your Jasper rep they'll be more than happy to provide you with the information that you need.
And if you're not a Jasper customer, reach out to your local Jasper rep and ask them about this. Build a relationship with them. They're wonderful people.
Yeah, I'm sure that they would provide you with the ability to get to it. So all of you, if you're not a Jasper customer like Doris said, I would encourage you to reach out to them regardless and ask them if there's any way that you might be able to have access to it. Number 2, it says elite experts are just a phone call away. As I mentioned to you, I'll be here for a good part of the day. Doris is going to be available for part of the day as well. We have a lot of other very talented guys and gals, truly industry experts, that can help as well. We know a lot of you sent in questions that we weren't able to answer. There's probably 30 or 40 questions there that we weren't able to answer today. And we care about you. We want to help you in every way that we can. And we feel that when we do webinars like this, it's inappropriate to not follow through and help you as much as we can. If you have a question about the content, and maybe we didn't do a good enough job in explaining it to you, so we'd like to have the answer bringing that clarity. In addition, if you have other questions about your business, a couple of you were asking questions about recruiting or advertising, give us a call. Well, we're here to help. If we're smart enough to know that if we can answer a question or two for you and help you with your business, we're smart enough to know if we do a good job, you will remember us. And then when the day comes when you're looking for other help, other products, other services, or seminars, or whatever, we're going to hope and pray then that you'll remember us and think of us as well.
And we have a knowledge base unlike any other. Bob mentioned that we have the industry's top experts working with us. Again, these are not people who learn from a book. They're people who learn because they've done it themselves. They've stood in your shoes, and they have grown, not just average companies. And so this is what, paired with the principles that Elite lives by and the culture that we really adhere to, this is what causes us to, quite honestly, not have competition when it comes to that in our industry. So you're going to get all of us. If you reach out and talk to one of us over the phone and just to get some answers, understand that the knowledge base is very, very deep. It's very, very, just very broad, and we've got some gifted people. So you'll get access to all of us.
Yeah, well said, Doris. Well said. Well, so you're probably wondering, well, how do you do this? Well, you can call the 800 number. We're a San Diego-based company, 800-204-3548, or you could send an email to contact@eliteworldwide.com. And if you send it to contact, then a number of us are going to see that email come in, and then one of us, either myself or Doris or one of the other experts, would follow up with you accordingly. So this is how easy we are to reach. And again, we're going to be on standby and available to help you for the rest of this morning and possibly into this afternoon as well, Pacific time.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us this morning. We hope we gave you some really great green zone strategies. We'll be happy to give you more detail on those if you reach out. But again, thanks for giving us your time. Thank you for those of you that are supporters of Jasper and our Jasper customers. And thank you, Jasper. You guys are amazing.
Amen, to say the least. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.